What's up YouTube? It's your boy Tarantula with some big and exciting news. Impromptu Nintendo dropped a Nintendo Direct just yesterday with a slew of announcements, and among them the highly anticipated announcement of Splatoon 3. Everybody's been waiting for this for a long time. They also included a trailer for this, not just an announcement but a nice full-out trailer, so without further ado, let's dive right into our trailer for some deep analysis. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is just like a desolate wasteland. Seems like the game takes place in this desolate area, or there's a desolate component to the game. Very, very post-apocalyptic as is standard with the Splatoon story timeline. In this scene, we just see like turned over cable cars from a metro, or cars and degrading buildings in the back, and some corrugated roof covers, barrels and shrubberies, and there's just desolate wasteland. Not really a lot of life or water or anything here. Then it cuts to the character creation scene. As the first glimpse we get of the character select screen, character creation. It features our Inkling wearing a warped hoodie and what seems to be like a COVID style mask in the front. I don't know if it's like a nod to the 2021 and the situation of the actual global pandemic or not, but that was something interesting I thought to note. The other first thing we noticed is this salmon egg just lying on the ground here that's also present in this screen, and we'll get into that in detail a little bit, but they don't really go over that right away. Inkling seems to be wearing like a torn shirt, and the standard shoes seems to be like these boots these times. I get like Agent 3 vibes from the cape here in the back. There's also a new weapon right behind the Inkling here. We don't really see what it is yet, but I'll point that out later. So first things first, you get to select your style, and the most notable thing about this is the removal of genders. You don't really have an Inkling boy or Inkling girl anymore, or Octoling boy or Octoling girl anymore. It's just pick a style. Do you want the Inkling style, or do you want the Octoling style? And then it jumps right into skin tones right at that, with the standard selection of skin tones, so nothing new there. The eye colors, the more eye color options this time. There's the standard single color eye options is reflected on here, but you'll see that some of these selections have two or three tones of colors, and we'll see what that looks like in a second. But as the presenter scrolls to the options, you can see like there's multiple colors, maybe like a gradient in the character's eyes. There's like some light pink here, maybe some dark pink or purple towards the bottom here. What's most noticeable on the selection that they make, where it's like a green hue is the primary or dominant color of the eye, and the red is the outside edge here, and the black seems to be the iris of the eye. So it seems like we'll have some different options here. There's some gradient options for eye colors here, which is unique. This is the first for Splatoon series to have a multiple colored eye selection. After that, it moves into the hairstyles, and you'll see that the hairstyles for boys and girls seem to be in same selection. So once again, no more genders. You're free reign to choose what kind of hairstyles best suits you. And it seems like the selection is available from the start. The list just moves on to the right. This seems to be the marketing or the selected hairstyle for Splatoon 3. It's just a braided tentacle on the left, and then on the character's right, it's just the standard tentacle as we're familiar with. The next one seems to be like a boy cut, kind of like pulled back, and it seems to be some extension in the back, though it's not really visible from this perspective here. The next new hairstyle seems to be like a disheveled, wavy, kind of messy but stylized haircut, followed by a very, very clean and short cut here. And then we move into the standard Splatoon 1 girl hair that returns, and right after that, look at this guy right here yawning, this little salmon yawning right there. Right after that, the Inkling boy standard haircut or hairstyle from the first game. They don't go further into it, but it looks to me like this is the bob cut from Splatoon 2, so I'm assuming the standard boy haircut from Splatoon 2 follows, and maybe more selections that are from those games. The other thing I want to point out here is that whatever hairstyle they pick for the player character, it seems to have a notch in the eyebrow. And I don't know if that's just to signify a different character from the previous versions of the game. You know, we've worked with like Agent 3, Agent 4, and Agent 8. You know, maybe it's a new entirely character. Or maybe it's just to identify your player character against other player characters. Maybe in a Turf War, for example, you'll be the only character with a notch in their eyebrow, and other characters will be appearing as normal. Not really quite sure about that, just something to note. After they select their hairstyle, go into your leg wear, and you'll see that most of the returning options for leg wears are here: the shorts, the pants, the skirt, the sport pants, the shorts with leggings, I believe. And then they have like some baggy shorts here, and looks like some jeans, maybe like some capris, and some leggings here. So just a few new options, but for the most part, these seem to be the same from the previous games. This is also the first time we get a look at the weapon the Inkling is carrying. Seems like an ink bow right there, so kind of interesting. This is definitely new to Splatoon 3 series. We'll go more into that detail later. After that, it moves into customizing what they call your little buddy. Your little buddy, customizing your Salmonid. And not more is known about his purpose in this game, but we're going to try to discuss like some possibilities with that. You do get to choose his hairstyle. There's just a few selections, and it doesn't seem you get to choose anything else. Just standard bush. There's a mohawk, a spike mohawk, maybe like a faux hairstyle, a bob cut, maybe a hair bun, and then just like a messy patch in the back there. So, as you'll see here, they're demonstrating the little salmon is going to follow the player character. So you can see here in this scene that salmon is trailing behind. So it's not really sure what kind of functionality he'll have. Some of my speculations would be, you know, he might just be like companion. Maybe it'll be just like pets that you can collect in Splatoon 2, and you can just customize them with like small variations, or you know, you can have like just for show off purposes, no like intended functionality. But another cool thing I'd like to see is like maybe some campaign functionality. You know, maybe the Salmonid can support the player in campaign mode through various actions. Then it can take like a straight supportive role, and maybe provide ink or coverage for the player to move around in, or for mobility, or to refill ink. It could take on like a utility role, maybe function as like an item retrieval, or recon, or you know, establishing a perimeter. It'd also be cool to see as like an offense features. Maybe the Salmonid will have some attack options that it can use to engage in the enemies in the campaign mode. But another thing I'd like to see it too, if it does have some added functionality, is the possibility for like a co-op campaign mode. You know, obviously the arsenal of actions will be available to the main player, the first player. But you could have a second player kind of do some limited functions with the Salmonid just to support the player and kind of have fun at no expense. You know, obviously the Salmonid comes off a cliff or an edge, you know, he would just respawn. It would take away from the experience for the single player. One other feature I'd like to see for the Salmonid is if they do have functionality and they can engage in enemies or move independently. It'd be nice to see players in Turf War that get disconnected be replaced by an AI controlled character to kind of help balance Turf War matches. I don't think it'd be a great idea for ranked matches. I think having your rank depend on a bot character wouldn't be ideal, and the way they have it already, where ranked matches with disconnects don't count, I think that's fair. But for other modes that don't rely on or don't establish a ranking, it could be beneficial. And we get kind of a vantage point here of the wasteland. This seems like this might be the campaign area. There's a lot of like yellow tape here, which is pretty typical for the campaign mode in Splatoon. It also seems kind of like it follows the story mode of the final Splatfest in Splatoon 2, the Chaos versus Order. This definitely seems like a post-apocalyptic like chaos environment with not a lot going on here. But another possibility is this could just be the tutorial section, leading towards the startup of the game. It might be just the functionalities to show the player how to play with basic actions and gameplay mechanics of shooting, moving, thinking, and swimming, etc. So here we get the first glimpse of the bow. So it's like a nice string here, and just some cool little features in the bow here. The one thing I want to point out in this scene in particular is the idle animations from Splatoon 2 seem to be returning. So this seems like this is building on the Splatoon 2 engine. And then also this is the first like real close-up glimpse of the ink pack we get to look at. It doesn't look like a tank anymore like it did in Splatoon 1 or 2. It kind of looks like a water bottle or like a water pack that you would carry with you on a hike or something like that. So this is a different design to the ink tank here. You get the idle animation. The next scene is just the train station scene here. You'll see that the city that the story takes place in, or that you start in, is visible in the back here. There's power lines here, so obviously there's power feeding something, or this goes to another city or something, or grid or whatever, which is interesting. There seems to be a mailbox here. Not sure that will have a functionality, but that's just worth noting. I definitely get Deep Sea Metro vibes from this one. Just kind of reminds me of the Deep Sea Metro. There's some decals on the train here. This kind of looks like the Sheldon logo a little bit. You can't really see a driver or anything. Some flames here. Then it moves into the interior of the train. There's a scene with the interior of the train, and you'll see that's where we see the jellyfish for the first time here. So we see jellyfish are returning. There's also characters on the train, kind of similar to Deep Sea Metro. This one almost looks like a Salmon Run, which is kind of different features, but similar in style. It looks like the Cohawks. There's a poster behind him that isn't really clear, but it looks like this might be like the new idol or something like that, or maybe one of the new idols from the Splatoon 3 series or game. The next thing that I noticed was the backpack. It seems like the character's holding on to a backpack, so I don't know if this indicates maybe a more expansive campaign mode. It's possible the campaign mode will have like an open world element to it where you can, go around and collect things, or you'll have storage or backpack functionality, or this is just a nice little design feature for this scene in particular. This might also serve as like the title screen for the game, where you push A and then you load into the city following. You can kind of see the city right behind it, so it seems like we're going to the city. But this also might just be like the interlude between the tutorial and starting the actual game. The next thing we get to is just the central hub of the city where you spawn. And the first thing I want to point out is that the vibe I get is there's all these like densely populated apartments. You have like these rows and rows of apartments just stacked on top of each other in a densely populated area. Gives me like very like Tokyo or Japan vibes. Not necessarily Tokyo. You do see this a lot in different areas of Japan, but Tokyo is a good example. Another thing to note here is that there are a lot of returning hairstyles. You can see here's a hairstyle from Splatoon 2, and then here just seems like a new hairstyle. You can barely see it in the back here, but there's like a new hairstyle. And then a lot of the shops seem to be on the first story here. Seems like some of them are inaccessible, like these ones right here with the metal covered doors, but some of them with the glass windows or glass doors might be accessible. And then you kind of get a view of the street down here. Here we get a glimpse of the sky. There's a plane that flies right overhead, and then the train seems to go overhead. That might be the same tree that the character was riding in on the way to the hub. Here, same idle animations as the standard Splatoon 2 game. Also, you can see one of the Splatoon 2 haircuts returning. And then there's a little red box here in the back that seems to be the mailbox where you can submit like drawings or text that is posted to Twitter or social media. It seems like most of the stores you interact with are down this street here on the right and on the left. In one of the alleyways, there's a giant pig, and this was significant to me because it made me it gave me vibes of like Osaka in Japan, where you see a lot of like giant characters above like storefronts or restaurants. Another thing to note is it seems like this area behind it is accessible, and we'll get a closer glimpse of this later on, but there's like a green statuette here and some blue lantern lights here and a white sign with some red characters on it. So remember that, because we'll visit that in a second. Here we see more of the symbol that kind of reminds me of the Sheldon symbol here, and a lot of these characters returned from the previous Splatoon franchises. Here we get back to the main street here. Get a better vantage of the center of the city. So here you get a better view of the front of the street here. This is the alleyway that I was referring to with the blue lanterns behind the giant pig that seems to be above here. Not really sure what this area is for. It seems like maybe this might be where the salmon run is. Looks like some characters here that kind of feel like salmon run. But this raised platform up here kind of reminds me of like sumo wrestling too. So I don't know if this is gonna be like a new feature present in the Splatoon games, but this seems to be like an accessible area where there'll be some features available for the player. Let's go back a little bit. Just go back a little bit. Okay, so here we get a nice view of the main street here. And one of the things I was looking for is like screens where like the idle characters will be presented, and you don't really see much. Maybe they'll be down here at the end. It looks like there's just a wall here. So maybe this is still being developed down here at the other end, but it's hard to tell for sure. Here we get another picture of the sky, but the first thing you notice is the Turf War logo on the right here. So this is the battle tower, where you will be able to access all the multiplayer modes in the game, and then you'll see the train platform on the left here and some more. Again, the central street looks like this area right here might be where that pig was. It's not sure. One thing I did want to note about this screen is that there's a balcony on the top here with like some hats and a tabletop, so maybe this will be the hat store, so maybe you'll have access to the second floor again. It's not really clear. And then here we get that same viewpoint, just from a different angle, and you see the battle tower in the back. So if you're spawning facing forward, the battle tower will be directly to your left, and it looks like you'll have access to some shops here on the bottom. A nice little serpent or snake or dragon character on top of this building here with the crown. It's pretty cool. I like to see those kind of things. I like to bring out, giant characters in these environments. There's also like a shrine behind the character when they spawn, and I thought maybe this is where the idle characters will be. This might be like a stage or something, or it'd be interesting to see what this brings to the game. This definitely seems accessible, and it seems kind of new to the game. This truck right behind it kind of seems like the Splatfest truck, but I wasn't really sure. And this whole city kind of reminds me a lot of Ingopolis from Splatoon 2, so it makes me wonder if it's the same location, but it's just been developed, because a lot of it was under construction throughout Splatoon 2. So maybe these features have been, it's like post-construction of the same area, but it's hard to tell. The battle tower was down here, and now it's to the left here. So again, stores seem to be accessible on the bottom here on the left. This might be the shoe store or the clothing store. It's hard to tell. And then a nice little Splatoon 3 logo with the 3 in the eyes. The next thing we jump into is the battles. There's a lot of stuff here to go over, so we'll have to dissect it slowly, but very, very interesting nonetheless. First thing to note is that the spawns, you'll see the spawn logo on these little platforms is in the air. Here's the spawn logo from Splatoon 2 that I'm so familiar with. So it seems like the teams spawn in the air now. You'll see some new hairstyles here, especially with the Octolings on the right here for the boys. And then some returning weapons. It seems like the blaster is just standard blaster, or this could be the long range blaster. The design seems to be the same, just a little bit smoother. Before it was kind of a cylinder or a barrel, but now it seems to be smoothed out a little bit. So this might be the some new features there. The gold dynamo roller returns. It seems to be primarily the same. I think there's like a glass apparatus around the end of the hilt here, but seems to be missing here. The third weapon is most definitely the E-liter. The only notable difference is the coloration. I'm assuming that since Splatoon 1 was the E-liter 3K, Splatoon 2 was the 4K, so this is probably the E-liter 5K with the scope. And then over here we see the ink bow once again. And then some, looks like some new and returning gear here. It's like some sandal shoes and some sandals here. And this character doesn't seem to have any hair. One thing I want to see is if the other players have their eyebrows clipped or not, but I can't see that from the screen. And of course the opposing playing team. Here we have the sloshing machine that returns. This seems to be the new standard splatter shot. Some new designs here. Hydra Splatling, and then the .96 gal, which seems to have a more condensed look, especially on the bottom here, some similar features. And then again, some of the newer hairstyles here. Viking helmet here seems to be new as well. So the first thing to note is that when you are in the spawn, you have the option to shoot where you want to spawn. And this is kind of a interesting feature, and it's new to Splatoon. And one of the things I was thinking about why they would do this, what was the point? And it seems like this might resolve a lot of like spawn camping issues that people were complaining about in Splatoon 1 and 2. It seems like having the freedom to choose like where you want to, I guess, begin your approach from might give you more I guess, protection from spawn camping. You know, there's a line of players right here that would normally be shooting up at this base here. Then you have the option to shoot, you know, behind them or maybe to the right or left to an area where they might not be able to get you so easily. Of course, they probably can watch and see where you're landing, so it's not 100% effective, but it seems to maybe alleviate some of the concern with spawn camping, where you're stuck on what appears to be an unused or old spawn platform here. So it's hard to tell if you will respawn in the air or if you will respawn on the base. Another utility I could see for this is to avoid crowding when you spawn. A lot of times when you all spawn at the same time at the beginning of a match in one platform, it's easy to get crowded and difficult to see like where everyone's going. So from here, not only are you spread out more and you have more opportunity to, you know, choose your path independently, you can also see where other players are going and get an idea of like, oh, you know, whose plans are what. Like this player seems like they might go up here and take the high route. This player might go down in the middle and try to push, and this player might try to flank on the right here. So you get to see like some strategical, I guess, placement from other players. And you'll see as you approach and make your landing, the markers remain, so you can see where your team players are supposed to be landing. Just another perspective of the same launch. Ooh, it's so cool. Look at that. Ooh. All 4 players just launching at the same time. And if you get like these kind of perspectives in the game, like when you're in spectator mode, that'd be really cool. Alright, so, and again, you get to see where your team players are landing and approaching from. So here we get to see the ink bow in action, and the most notable thing about this is that when it shoots, there's actually 3 strands of shots vertically. Okay, so here you'll see 1, 2, 3, makes 3 vertical lines of shots, and there's like 3, I guess, the barrels that ink can shoot from in these guys. So it's pretty unique. Pretty unique for a weapon. It's kind of like I want to say like a slosher and a roller combined, almost, because some sloshers have like multiple trajectories, but here they're in a single vertical line, kind of like the long flick of the roller. This is the next most noticeable scene. Returning specials. So it seems like a lot of specials from Splatoon 1 are returning, and this one in particular is the Kraken. You can see by the teeth here, but most importantly the turn when he jumps. It turns and flips when it jumps. This is most definitely the Kraken here. It's the first returning special for Splatoon 1. One thing I like to point out in this scene is there's a player character here on the bottom that's swimming up the ink wall, but it seems like instead of just popping up on top of the wall, you actually get some momentum and some upward trajectory, and he's able to flank the player on the tower from above. So it seems like wall swimming will have some added utility for matches, some more strategic. You can launch yourself up to kind of like take towers more easily, or take high ground easily, or so. That was interesting, I thought. Next thing we see is there's a roller player here that jumps off from the right, and you can see that the long flick from jumping is returning for rollers. Then also on the left here, you see another special, and this seems to be the new iteration of the Inkzooka. It doesn't shoot a tornado vortex anymore. Instead, it shoots like a blob of 3 balls at a time, maybe. Kind of like the Rainmaker in Splatoon 2. They just explode on impact, but not as significant an area of explosion. The other thing I want to point out here is these lines that shoot out. This seems to be like maybe an iteration of the Stingray. It wasn't very clear where these were coming from, but they do remind me of the Stingray that maybe has like a more better utility or functionality. It seems like there's a player character down here on the bottom right that's just launching across this stage here. So this might be an evolution of the Stingray. And again, we see another action shot of the new Inkzooka shooting a shot here to the right. Sashi Machine, Hydra, Evo on top, and Roller on the left. Blaster. So here we get a nice little vantage point of the stage and the setting. The next scene that follows this seems to be the victory screen after the battle. These look like the victory animations when player characters or teams win. We just see some samples here. The Charger version, or the Blaster version, Fluttershy version. Nice little 8-bit glasses here. And we'll see also that looks like all characters have the shaved eyebrow. Looks like that returns for all characters, except for maybe the Octolings. Hard to tell here. Oh, this character is missing it too, it looks like. Maybe it's just a player character. Here we see the first new sub weapon. It's like a little crab that walks. It's hard to tell if you provide a barrier or offensive capabilities with these little barrels here that you can shoot. And another glimpse at the new and improved Inkzooka. And that leads us to the last bit of the trailer, which is the release date of 2022. And it's gonna be a lot of things. It's gonna be like a year from now. This might be like an early 2022 release. This could be an E3 2022 release. It could be consistent with the previous Splatoon sales in all the May to June, July, summer timeline, or it could be a holiday release date. I know that's like a lot of options, but those are the ones I think. It'll be either February, April, June, or November. Those are my guesses. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. What were your impressions of the trailer? What kind of things are you excited for, and what kind of things do you want to see? What are your thoughts? Be sure to comment down below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. As always, it's your boy Tarancha with Absolute Monarch Gaming. Stay fresh.